Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to. I'm sorry, I want to say Light Language Messenger. Welcome to the Great Awakening Generator. I'm Rose McNair, and I have Ginny Jones with me. Live chat with Ginny here on the Great Awakening Generator. We got it right. We got the right channel. Hello, Ginny.
Hi
How are you?
everyone. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good, thank you. Um, yeah, I've just been babysitting or looking after my little grandson while my daughter got on with a few things around the house and stuff, which was lovely.
Right.
He's just starting to smile and gurgle and talk now, which is wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, it just
Isn't it
brings so much
wonderful?
joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you believe I had a little one at my house today, 6 month old.
Oh wow.
His grandma was next door. She does some work there, and she had to bring him in because she couldn't take him back after she'd had his vaccinations, and so she asked, could I leave him with you, Rose?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." It was
Oh,
such a
lovely.
happy, googly thing, just smiling away at me, and I thought, I'm a stranger, and you're just
Yeah,
like okay with me. So
that's
anyway,
so
so
cool.
I had my touch of baby today as well,
Yeah.
a little one. Yours is obviously younger, but
Yeah,
yeah. So how
lovely.
is everything going in your world?
It's going very well. I've been out for lunch today too. I have had over the last week. Um, it's funny because I've had a sort of a feeling of elation in some ways, but also a lot of head pressure and body aches and stuff like that, which I'm putting down to the energies of the moon and also um, the energies that are coming to the earth at the moment. But yeah, I've had this. It's almost like I've come out the other side of a period of stagnation, I want to say, but now I feel energized to actually get things done and to move forward and to focus on my business and getting that up and doing a lot more work. I'm working with some other healers, and we're thinking about opening a once a month healing um, center in Tapuna.
Okay.
There's also another healing center that's just coming about that will be based in Athenry. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, lots of energy about moving forward and getting out there and helping the public. So yeah, that sort of energy, and I feel
Yeah.
energized about it too.
That's really interesting because I feel a lot like that too at the moment. And I have a feeling it has something to do with the full moon
Mm.
that the full moon of last week. And I just felt leading up to the full moon, I felt energized, and I did recordings for light language around the full moon. I mean, hey, but having said that, the energy is like rife. It's quite intense.
Mm.
And I had to do one of those recordings, like I took seven takes to do one
Oh
of those
wow.
recordings.
Yeah.
That it was, and I just kept, and eventually I thought, maybe I'm not supposed to do this, but I mean, you know. So yes, no, I agree with you. I'm feeling motivated myself to do things. I'm feeling a lot better about taking action on things.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Mm. There's a lightness and there's an excitement and there's this, and last night I had a moment with my guides where I was just very clear with them. I
Mm.
haven't had a clear, profound sentence to them like that in a very long time. And I just thought, it felt like that's what they were waiting for,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
absolutely. I
yeah,
think you're right because I remember when the moment that this was a few years ago, the moment that I said, right, I want to be taught directly from you guys, it's like the floodgates opened, and
yeah,
I could feel a lot more, I could see a lot more, and it was that intention within myself, right? Okay, I'm ready for you to teach me direct. Honestly,
yeah.
yeah.
So I had my moment like that. I had my moment like that, I think in 2008. And
Hmm.
I'm used to them constantly talking to me and having this open communication. But something happened in 2018 that I stopped hearing them.
Right. Yeah.
it's not they weren't speaking, but I just
Yeah.
stopped hearing what they were saying.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize that I was out of body for a long time.
Mm.
A few things that happened that I was out of body, and then I was not connecting with my body, and that was the misalignment. And in August last year, everything started to come back.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm fine, I'm on this trajectory. But last night when I said what I said, I guess maybe it was me being clear and not trying to hear them clearly. And that
Yeah.
was the difference, right?
Yes. That'll
Yeah,
be it. Yeah.
that'll be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting to work with us, and it's that moment when we're right, okay, this is it. I'm truly ready now. And I remember this works with abundance and everything. I remember when John, this was a few years ago too, John snapped or ruptured his Achilles. So he had to have 6 weeks off work in a plaster. And because we were then getting ACC, which is like you get 80% of your wages, which is quite a knock when you've got quite a mortgage and all that stuff. So I said to Spirit, like the week after he'd done it, that following week, I said to Spirit, right, I'm really going to need to get abundance coming in now. I need more work coming in. And honestly, the moment I said, and I had that feeling in me of, this is what's going to happen, not I'm asking, this is what's
Yes.
going to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
And literally, I got majorly busy. I started also, my creative mind started creating things that I could do in group stuff to get more finances in. And of course, the work was getting out there at the same time.
Yeah.
And it really did work for the whole 6 weeks. And then I sort of said at the end of the 6 weeks, John went back to work and I went, okay, I'm quite happy to have a bit of a break now. And honestly, it all calmed down again.
Wonderful. It's nice, isn't it? When you can have such a relationship where you can say, all right, and now we need to sort of take a rest,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
completely, but we need to slow it down a little bit because it's too much and you're not coping.
Yeah.
This is our abilities, right? This is what we have
It
the
is.
ability to do and to have, and this is the kind of relationship we can have with our guides. We just
It
need to
is.
be
It is.
able to realize that and just do it,
Yeah,
not doubt
absolutely.
it.
And it's with yourself. It's the relationship with yourself as well. It's like, obviously we're beacons. We're transmitters. We're transmitting out energy and information and also receiving at the same time through our light bodies into this quantum field or the universe. And it's having that deep knowing within yourself when you really want something to happen, you like saying without a doubt, this is what's going to happen. And it's like
Yes.
your whole energy field then alters itself and it starts radiating that frequency out into the quantum field. And then it's like you've got to let it go then and just let it all take place. And that's when you start to see things actually coming into your life. And this can be abundance, it can be anything. I watched a thing briefly this morning. I didn't really watch the whole thing, but this guy had won the lotto 3 times.
Well,
And it's because he works on his own abundance field, sending that out and feeling that feeling of empowerment, and I'm rich and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for all the wonderful opportunities and all of that beautiful feeling that's radiating out for him. And he made sure that he did that every single day. And eventually the universe came back with it. He won 3 times.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
try that.
I'm going to try that. I hope my mind remembers to try that. But you know what? I'm just finding, and I think this thing of being happy and radiant and being in the mind space of appreciation,
Yeah.
just being grateful,
Yeah.
just being happy for little things. And it takes a while to get there because let's face it, we've gone through a lot. Firstly, we are programmed.
Yes.
Or we have been programmed to such an extent that it's ingrained in us. We get it even through the genealogy in our DNA. The body is remembering stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's not the easiest thing, but when you can look at an experience in a day, at least if you look at 3 experiences in your day and you say, I really appreciate that that happened. Like
Yeah.
today when we got to have the baby in the house,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're so lucky. We've got a baby in the house today. We haven't had a baby in this house at all, for goodness
Yeah.
sake, you know?
Yeah.
And who would have thought, you know, me, I'm,
That's
I don't
lovely.
have grandchildren. And it was awesome. And the dog was happy and he kept wanting to go to him and sniff his little toes and, you know, like, oh, what is he playing with? Can I have his toy?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and I thought it was wonderful to see the dog in that state of mind as well, you know, because
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
we don't have a baby, I don't know how he would respond if we had one in the house, but it was awesome with the baby. And I thought, oh, you
Yeah.
know, so lucky that we had this baby, so blessed to have this baby in our
Oh,
with our time. And that was such a joy. It was
yeah.
really such a joy.
That's
So
exactly what it is when you've got a young baby that's so innocent and so not a care in the world with you. It literally is, it really makes your heart open because, you know, all the giggling and the smiling and the gurgling
no,
and all that,
yeah.
it just really lights you being up and gives you such a feeling of joy and wonder and oh, it's hard to put into words. Yeah.
It is. And you know, I had this baby here for a short space of time, but he kept smiling at me.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, he's such a cutie pie, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you don't even know me. It's the first day you've met me, but
Yeah.
you've got such an amazing, joyful nature.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was experiencing, you know, speaking of the full moon and current energies, is I had I was fine, and then I got to that doing these recordings for the light language, and I realized I was a little bit, you know, all over the place. It took so much energy,
Mm.
and I noticed that my third eye was really having a, you know, pounding last week as the moon was waxing to be full, and then it was on and off, and then sometimes too intense, and then sometimes mostly it would just sort of wane off. um I had a weekend of, you know, one after the other experiences, where you know, I just had a friend who told me a story that he'd experienced with the lotto. Found someone's lotto tickets and he went and gave it into this. He went to the supermarket customer services and gave it to them, and not gave it to them. He said, "Oh, look, I found these lotto tickets. Here's my card. Somebody comes looking for it, get them to contact me."
Yeah.
And then he went back a week later and they said, well, a person was looking for it, and we're going to ban you from this store because you should not have taken those tickets with you. He said, but I didn't do anything with these tickets. I've got them because I'm fine. You know, I could have said finders keepers and I could have checked the ticket and I
Yeah.
could have taken the
Yeah.
winnings, right?
Yeah.
And they were really, really on
Wow.
another off. They were like, we're going to ban you from the store. They were treating him like he stole something from the store.
Wow. That's terrible.
When he asked to speak to the manager went even further up one level, and just was like, I'll call the police now. And it was like, wow.
That's
So
shocking.
it's shocking. But why I'm saying this is I want to say that there's the weirdness out there
There
with the
is.
energies,
Yes.
and people are having weird experiences.
Yes.
And don't get caught up in it because
That's right.
because you know, it's kind of it's a time. I don't know about you, but I know that because we're multidimensional, and when we go out, we are connecting with people that are also going through the multidimensional experience, but we don't know where they're at in that space, right? In that intuitive space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my friend's experience.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you're so right about some really weird stuff happening out there. And it's funny. Obviously, your friend must had to go through that for some reason, and it was to open his eyes to.
I told him so that I
Yeah,
told him.
yeah,
I
yeah,
said it wasn't about you. You know that there was no dishonesty in what you were doing.
yeah. That's right. Yeah,
But what do you need to learn here?
yeah, yeah. Well, it's open your eyes about what's going on with these people that were treating him that way. It's like,
That's right.
hang on a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Their perception of that event was so the opposite to his. So the parallels, the polarities was really being shown up there. for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he was doing the right thing, but they were making him out to be the criminal. And of course, they
yeah,
took the tickets, and he doesn't know what happened to them. And the person who was looking for it, he doesn't even know that person because they never contacted him. It was an elderly gentleman. And so, you know what I mean? Like, when you think about that now,
yeah.
those people took those tickets. What did they do with it?
That's right. Were they honest and contacted that elderly gentleman?
Exactly. They
Yeah.
probably don't even have his number. And the point of the matter is, we don't know.
No.
But the point is, uh, you question why was that behavior like that? Was it like putting them there, reflecting onto him what they would do? Um,
Well,
and they had another agenda.
You know what I think? I think it's showing your friend the separation in society. That,
Yes.
that those people are actually stuck in that energy of deceit and people being deceitful and taking things and that sort of energy, whereas your friend is in the energy of helpfulness and
Oh,
thinking of the collective, and that type of energy. So I think it was showing, again, it's the polarities
definitely.
showing how humanity is separating.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. So, Jenny, um, are you finding that sometimes, because I had this experience this last week also, where I was with some people,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't gone out into gatherings for a long, long time. I don't do that often. But I was with some people, and I just found the energy was a little bit off. I don't know if it was a full moon energy. I don't know, but these are meant to be intuitive people. I don't
Right.
really, you
Okay.
know what I mean? And I just thought it was almost like a separation, segregation. It was almost like I was in this place, and maybe this is me. Maybe I'm reflecting myself here. I don't know, and I'm open to learning from it. There's a bit of this I don't know, feeling of, oh no, we don't really want to associate with you.
Oh,
And I was
really? Wow.
and I thought this is a bit strange because I'm getting up this energy, and it's almost like we find you strange. And I thought, that's weird.
Yes, it is weird. It is weird. So
I
that
and
do they know what you do?
No. I hope, my intention was never to tell anybody what when I go to a gathering of that sort, I'm just like everyone else in terms of
Mm,
I'm there to learn because I'm not the host. I am
mm,
there to receive and to learn and have the experience. So I don't need to say anything like that to
no.
anybody. Hey, this is what I do. Um, and what we're doing here is for the collective anyway. We're not doing it as in, hey, we want to get
Yeah, yeah.
famous or anything.
Yeah, that's right.
This is part of my soul contract on this planet. That's what
Mm,
I'm fulfilling. And
mm.
so I thought it was a bit different. And I came away thinking, I knew a couple of people there, and it was fine. And I talked to them, and I talked to another lady there, and I talked to a few more people than that, but it was just in particular three people that seemed to be almost like they wanted a border between them and
Oh,
I. And I thought, what's up with this? I don't
yeah,
understand
that's
it.
interesting.
It's interesting, and I don't know. I think we must accept that people are in different parts of the journey.
Totally. Totally.
And sometimes I don't know them, and I don't really know what's going on.
Mm.
But it was, yeah, it was, some of the actions that were taken made me think they would just really didn't want to have any close contact with me. Just like, it's almost like, no, no, let's get together so she doesn't join us. So like, let's all three
Wow.
get together. And I thought, they didn't say it, but that was
Yeah.
and because we had some group activity to do at the end. But anyway, I found that, and my third eye was in so much strife whilst I was at this event. But we did have shamanic music, and then one of the ladies said, "Oh, she couldn't actually cope with it, so
Oh,
they
right.
turned it off." But I mean, we just had the full moon on Sunday morning, and the full moon, the moon
Yeah,
has an effect on us,
it
and
does
so
indeed.
yeah, and so that was that experience, and I just found on Monday was a day of I couldn't keep up with time. Are
Couldn't
you
you?
finding time? Tell me about how are you managing time?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I try not to actually look at it that much. Hence why I say to people, "Can you send me a text?"
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And then, if I'm running late for something, I go, okay, I need to bend time here. So I set the intention out there. Okay, I'm running late, but I'm going to get there on time. I'm
I
going to
know
get
that's
there. I need to get there on time.
yes, that's
And
right. That's
yeah,
right. Bruce
most
Lipton
often
says that as well,
I
right?
do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Bruce Lipton says that as well.
yeah,
I'll get there at the right time or something
yeah,
like that. And I've been practicing in that in the last week or so.
yeah.
Um, it's an
That
interesting.
often works. It works.
It works. It actually does. Yeah,
It
you
does.
get
And
there.
another thing I do is if I'm in a traffic jam, there's a Reiki symbol that you can use to push the traffic forward. And so I just do that and energy work and pushing the traffic
Okay,
forward. And honestly, it works too.
awesome. You're gonna have to teach us that sometime. Yeah, especially us in Auckland, we need to move the
Yeah.
traffic. We oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We had I know I'm going on is at the end of this this is my last thing I want to tell you about current energies. But you can tell me about anything I didn't like if you have something more because I know I'm going on. On Monday, I must have had 7 phone calls in which people were trying to have conversation and like a few of them were like 45 minutes long.
Wow.
And I was just being, I was just being polite. Then I had a friend turn up suddenly, and somebody, and just before that, someone else had asked me to go into a meditation thing with them.
Wow.
But the friend was already on their way, and I couldn't stop it. And it was like, oh my gosh. But when my friend arrived, I had this feeling that I needed to pull an oracle card.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I took the Wisdom of Avalon oracle card deck, and I shuffled the cards, and then I was getting these. First, twice I got the death card. I don't know, and that's okay because death doesn't have to be
That's
somebody
right.
really
Yeah.
literally dying,
Absolutely.
and of course starting new phases and all the death of one and the beginning of the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And then I pulled it again, and there was a whole wad of cards falling out, and I said, "Come on now, please." I'm like, "Stop doing this. We want one card. You said one card. What is the card?" So I took the cards back. I started to shuffle them, and I put my hand up like that, and I said, "Come on, Merlin." And the Merlin card flew out. So
Wow. That's
that's
so
so weird.
cool.
I was like,
That's really
wow.
cool.
It was amazing. And the message was so good as well. And again, it was about ending of things and balancing and balance and alchemy comes into place when you are ending one phase and you're starting a new one. And in order to start the new phase, you find the alchemist within you. And it was just like amazing.
Yeah. That's
Then
fantastic.
and then just within that hour, we had another phone call. I had to talk to another friend who said, I've just been, I've just been listening to Amanda Ellis, and she's talking about King Arthur,
Wow.
and I was like, well, she was implying that William is King Arthur. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. I haven't watched that, but I saw the clip. Yeah. So, oh yeah. I haven't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, well, so it is. So if it is. Anyway,
Yeah.
so and then he started to resonate with some of the things that you're saying because he'd had a channeling with Diana before a few years ago, and she was saying a lot of things that he had in that channeling with Diana. And then he said, and I have this energy of Merlin, Rose.
Wow. Wow.
It's like, so it was nice to have synchronicities.
Yes.
I think it's the universe is encouraging us to have fun,
Absolutely. I can tell you
you know?
a Merlin story.
Yes.
When last time I went back to the UK and I stayed with my mum for 6 weeks, I used to hang out in this place called Maiden Castle, which is, they say it dates back to people living there sort of between 5 and 6 thousand years ago. But I
Wow.
actually think it goes way back before that.
Okay.
And at the moment, it's like a huge area, like bigger than a football pitch, way bigger than perhaps 3 football pitches.
Yeah.
And there's ramparts. So there's like hills that go up and down and up and down. And that was a protection thing. And then in the middle, there is sort of fairly flat area. There is an old Roman, not half knocked down ruin of a Roman temple on there, which is
Yes.
there.
Yep.
But anyway, I went up there one day, and as I was walking along, I heard this woman scream, and I'm looking around me, going, "Hang on a minute, I can't see anyone."
Wow.
And I thought, that's weird. So anyway, I carry on walking, and then literally, even though I knew I was walking on grass, in my head, I could see I was walking on a dirt track. It was really strange.
Okay.
Yeah. I could see I was walking on a dirt track, and then I came to this little, I can only say like it was a village because there were huts either side. And I still knew I was walking on grass, but I was actually seeing in my head these huts, and I could see like straw roofs, and it was a little bit muddy, and it sort of twisted round, and I could hear tinking of metal, and I could hear people talking, I could hear animals. And as I carried on walking down, I'm thinking, wow, this is actually quite strange, that I'm having this video playing out inside my head here, but I still know I'm walking on grass. And anyway, I sort of walked down into the villagey type place. Never actually saw anyone else, but I heard this woman scream again, and I went, ah, it was like a light bulb went off my head. I went, oh my God, I've tapped into a different timeline, and
Yes.
she is trapped, and she needs help, and she knows I can help her. So I carried on walking down a bit, and I thought, right, okay, I need to do this. So what I did was I said to my team, okay, I'm going to really need guidance with this because I'm not really sure what I was doing, because this was a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, you need to walk north, south, east, west, and calling in the energies of the wind and the elements and
Yeah.
all of that. So I did. I walked north, south, east, west, across the whole top of that pitch. And I said to my team, okay, we need to help her. I'm calling you all in now, and we're going to open the channels and actually free her spirit. So that's what I did. And I felt that the energy had cleared. And then I just got guided. It's like they put a thought in my head: get your phone and stand in a circle and take pictures while you're walking around at the sky. So I thought, okay, I shall do that. And it was sort of a bit cloudy and stuff. So I did that. And then I sort of got the impression that I'd done what I needed to do. So I walked out then. I thought, no, I'm going to go home now. And I walked out. And as I walked through the gate at the bottom at the outside the ramparts, I walked through the gate. Honestly, it was like I was stepping out of thick glue into light air. I literally could pull my leg out of it, and it went. And I
Wow.
carried on walking. I got home, and I took the pictures I took. I put on my iPad so I could see them, blow them up. The first one, I've got them here somewhere. I'm not sure where they are, but I have got them. Is literally in the clouds. There's an image of, you could either say it was like a male god figure with a big beard looking down,
Wow.
or a Viking. So it was like this big male face looking down. In another picture, this is what reminded me of what you were saying, Merlin energy. So in the actual picture of the cloud was a wizard's hat with the top bent over. You could see it perfectly. Underneath was this whirling mass of energy, and there was
Wow.
a hand sticking out with a wand. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the other one was something, I'm not even 100% sure what this other one was, but it is a figure stood there with like a tall helmet on, very, very skinny, sort of holding a arm out, and on the end of the arm is an arrow pointing. And almost, you could see almost the ribs. It was very unusual, and you could see facial features. I wasn't quite sure whether that was ET energy or whether that was perhaps some sort of ancient armored sort of being.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, Merlin was there. So I knew that all three of those energies actually helped me clear that lady over. Yeah. It was
Wow. That's
amazing.
awesome. That's
It was so
amazing.
cool.
That is amazing. And Merlin is so cool, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
just love Merlin.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, I've worked with his energy a few times. Yeah. Calling him
Yeah,
in.
he's awesome.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
And Dragon
Yeah.
Master that he is. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
we
just
work with
want to go.
Merlin a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to go back to the weird energy, just for our listeners here. So, not only is weird energy sort of some negative things happening, there are also actually wonderful things happening too. So, I was speaking to a lady today who was in a garden in the week, and a wild female deer walked right up to her as if they were sort of, I don't know, maybe a meter away, and they just stood there looking at each other. Yeah. How
Ah,
amazing is that?
oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Wow.
she said she's never had an experience like that before in her life. It's like they were sort of greeting each other and knowing of each other, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So I thought, oh my God,
Wow.
that means the veils are getting a lot thinner now. Her frequency has also
Absolutely.
obviously risen up, and the deer
Yeah, yeah,
trusted her.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's
Amazing,
awesome. That is
isn't it?
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get
I think
deer in
so.
our back paddock as well, which is fantastic. I love
Okay.
seeing them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice
Yeah.
to see them because it's saying, yes, yeah, you're basically so close to nature, aren't you?
Yeah.
You say,
Yeah.
well, we're close to the woods. We are, we've
Yeah.
got all the wildlife. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It is awesome.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some good things
So,
happening too for people.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't, I hope I didn't say only negative things.
No, no,
I
you
just,
didn't. No, you didn't.
I,
No, no.
s- just, it was just quite noticeable. And, I've had some interesting thoughts this week that's been put to me. It's good right now, we have to be happy, not have to be, but we must realize that we're in a good time.
Yeah.
And yes, it looks chaotic or whatever, but we're not part of any chaos
That's
because let's
right.
face it, we didn't come here to be part of a chaos. Yes,
No.
we've had to deprogram ourselves from whatever we've been brought up with and programmed with through the generations, through the other lifetimes that we're bringing into this one.
Yeah.
But that and I'm loving it. I'm loving that we can do that because I think I'm liking how I'm feeling at the
Yeah.
moment about things. And I feel in that in itself is an evolution,
Yeah.
because for a long time I didn't feel like that. And now I am, but I'm appreciating the sunshine and I'm appreciating, oh, we're gonna walk the dog and we're not gonna rush him. We're just gonna let him do his own thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
just enjoying being in the present and enjoying the things that we're doing because everything it will just flow. And I
Well,
really
that's
like
right.
it.
That's right. And when you're in that space, in that vibration or that frequency of joy, literally you're lifting yourself up. And that's the type of thing you will attract into your life.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm being called to say this, but I want to say this to anyone listening, is that if you're affected by any of the negative either coming out through the truther movement or coming out on the news, if you find that you're reacting to it or you're affected by it, please stop watching it because that is almost keeping you in a perpetual motion of anxiety or fear or stuff like that. And the only way we're going to change the frequency of things that are unfolding is if we all radiate out at a higher level, see the fifth dimensional future, the fifth dimensional earth where everyone is living in harmony and peace. And we're living off the land, we've got our own gardens, and there's community gardens, and there's communities that are helping each other. That's how we're going to create that new energy to come in. But I'm only saying that to people who are affected by listening to any of that stuff. If you're listening to that stuff and you're not affected, absolutely fine. It's when we give energy to it, that's when we're actually feeding that sort of lower density energy. And we, even to wake people up, we need to keep on a higher vibrational level. And,
Yeah.
what we were saying about being grateful and feeling that joy inside, and know that, that actually everything is going to work out all right. Because,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it is.
Yeah, and I feel like more and more that we do the meditations, more and more that we look after ourselves and we,
Yeah.
we use the mindful practice, for example,
Yeah.
that we this is where even where if you hear something that is quite disconcerting, that would ordinarily freak you out or whatever, your response changes because you know that you're doing the work on self. And
Yes.
maybe
That's
maybe
right.
that's the point of it. Like, I don't watch the news
Yeah.
and I haven't been listening to I didn't really follow what the truthers were saying. Now and then I'd watch whatever his name is, that guy from the truthers. I listened a lot in 2021 to Ishmael Perez, or
Oh, yeah.
2022, one
Yeah.
of it. I listened a lot to Ishmael Perez. And then after a while, I just kind of, it phased out for me
Yeah.
because that was it. That was my process. And then I also took a hiatus from YouTube for 6 months after that. And I was guided to do it, and I did that because I
Yeah.
just needed to hear my guides and come into what I needed to do. But what my point about it is that when you stop doing those things, then you start to look after yourself. If you are moved by it, and you said that really well, Ginny, because if you watch these things and if a person watches it and they're freaking out about it, chances are that it's probably something they shouldn't watch, or it's
Yeah.
possible you shouldn't
Yeah.
watch it because you don't want to be freaked out.
Yeah.
Rather to spend the time creating that happiness and joy, like Ginny is talking about, the appreciation around you, because I think more and more uh, that you do that, then when you come into contact with something like the news and it's all doom and gloom, then you can say, oh well, yeah, okay, fine, let's carry on now, because you need to say that and I need to do this. I need to
Yeah.
hear it, but I'm okay not to get caught up in it. And that is it. It's about self-care, self-love.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I listen to some of it because I get sent so much every day. So I
Yeah.
listen to some of it. Um, and I think, some of the stuff I think to myself, well, that's not happening. Well, that's not happening. I know it's not going to happen.
Yep.
Other
Yep.
stuff I think, oh, well, if that does happen, then obviously it's going to wake a lot of people up. And I just don't give it any energy. And I think, well, I'm just going to keep going in my little bubble there and create the world around me as I would like it. And that's the secret,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly. Because look, all of us have a part to play on the planet. Every one of
yes,
us that's on the planet
yeah,
has a part to play in on the
yeah,
planet. We must decide what stance or what is our part. We must become more in tune with what are we going to do on it.
yeah,
It's not about taking sides. It's not whatever. It's about you, your soul
yeah,
purpose, your
yeah,
contract. What have you come to do here? For me, I've
yeah,
come to do what I'm doing. For me, I've come to share my intuition, to be the communicator, to be the generator, whatever. I don't do
yeah,
energy healing like you do. Like you do Reiki, you do so much. You do quantum healing, you do all of those things, right? And you've got
yeah,
the spiritual art, all of that. I don't do all of that, but I do this, and you do that. And so we all sort of awaken through this, right? We're
that's
awakening
right.
others through this process. But the thing is that I also know that I want to be caught up in my contract.
Yeah, yeah,
And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, watching these things, there's nothing wrong to watch it, but why? And
yeah,
are we
yeah,
okay with watching it? Because like you say, you watch it and yeah, okay, whatever,
yeah,
or like that's not going to happen or whatever. But some
yeah,
people like, I don't watch it because I might get caught up in it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why I don't watch it, because I can
yeah,
get fearful. I can get worried. I can have a
yeah,
sleepless night about something that's gory, so I
yeah,
just like, okay, no, thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Ginny, we come to this time now. We're talking about the 29th of February and why it's so special. Because today is the
Yeah,
29th of February.
it is, which is a leap year, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I always feel the 29th of February, which only comes around every 4 years, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it
And
does.
I think it's actually very special. It's a
Me
special
too.
day.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And I think that, I mean, but when I was younger, it would be on a leap year on the 29th of February is when a woman can ask a man to marry them. I mean,
That's
that's a
right.
very old-fashioned thing. Yeah. Obviously, it
It's
doesn't really
only
make
on
any
that
difference at
year.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't. It's only on that year that women get to ask the question.
that's
Otherwise,
right.
normally it's
Yeah,
28 days of February. The men have to be the ones to ask it. But hey, we these days we laugh in the face of
that's right.
such rules.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is a very old-fashioned way, of doing it. But I seem to, I remember it when I was younger, and I'm thinking, oh, the 29th of February, because it only comes around every 4 years. That's actually a
That's
very
right.
magical day. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, I follow this lady on Facebook who's called Philippa Cummings. I think I sent you the link to her.
Okay.
Astrological NZ for anyone listening.
Yes, you did.
And
You sent me that link. Yes.
yeah, and she's put a thing up about the 29th. Thursday, the 29th, 2024 is a rare day. And she said, not just because it's a leap year, but the planets are lining up in such a way that is rare. So the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are all in Pisces. And at 9:34 p.m. on the 28th, the Sun and Mercury were exactly together. At 4:05 a.m. on the 29th, Mercury will sit exactly with the Sun. And at 10:25 a.m. on the 29th, so this morning, the Sun will sit with Saturn. So, to break it down, the Sun brings light consciousness and illumination. It has been very busy lately sending out solar flares, which assist the upgrades of our consciousness. The Sun is in Pisces every year at the same time, usually February the 28th or the 1st of March. Mercury also goes through Pisces every year, not always on the same day, though. In fact, it is often still in Aquarius at the same time. Saturn has a cycle of 29.5 years. So we can look back at the periods where it has been in Pisces. And she did. So it says, well, I did. And for you here, they are now nowhere in there was this triple conjunction.
Wow.
And then she's put the dates. I'm not going to read out all the dates, otherwise it's just too much. So 1817 to 19, February the 28th, 1818, the Sun and Saturn were conjunct at 8 degrees 40 minutes Pisces. And then it goes back even further into the 1700s. And 1672, on February the 28th, 1671, the Sun and Saturn were conjunct at the exact same degrees they are sitting right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so of course, I looked at history. Someone tried to steal the crown jewels, and a meteorite landed in Germany. Do some digging about the various monarchies, religions, etc. of the world. There is more to find. So she's just letting people know if they want to look into it. But look how rare this is. For you personally, it is a time to step into the mastery of your physical journey here and also to master the mind, to own yourself. But remember that Saturn is also authorities outside ourselves, the conditioning and rules, the limits and the restrictions, and those who tell us who and what we should be. Initially, our authorities are our parents, then our teachers, bosses, and such. It rules the governments, the banks, the big corporations, the churches. Watch these areas very carefully right now. If ever there was a time to listen to your soul energy, it is now. What feels right for you? What are you here for? How are you doing? How are you going to take the mastery and authority over your life path? Boundaries are needed. Good self-worth are needed. Pisces wants to blend and merge, but has no boundaries that separate us. But this energy shows us that we are all very much individuals here with a purpose. Mars has been squaring Jupiter. Jupiter rules the truth, our beliefs, and what we are educated with the law, and the media. Many things out in media around the defence forces and unlawful mandates. And just look what happened, what has happened with media today. So that was yesterday. She actually wrote this. Do some research into who owns Warner Brothers. There is a Mercury sextile Jupiter happening at 10:51 Friday. Could bring some big news. Dare to question, dare to step up. The truth is there to be seen. Open your mind, your heart, and your soul. It is time to really see just how we should be living. This happens after the moon moves into Scorpio just after 4 p.m. and squares Pluto at 6:30. Secrets uncovered. Keep an eye open. Keep an open mind. This may just be what we have all been waiting for.
Wow.
Life's too short to be afraid. Step inside the sun.
Wow.
So amazing alignments today on this 29th of February on this leap year. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Question I have for you now that you read that. Did you have a feeling, and I'm not here, I'm not saying asking this question everybody is to hype anybody up or whatever. I had a very distinct feeling of positivity on the weekend. Right. It was like, despite all of that, I had this very distinct feeling of positivity. And then we got to Monday and I felt there was something big about to happen. But it was, I wasn't feeling I was, because of the way my Monday went, you remember I said like time was not with me. I couldn't do everything I needed. It just felt that my energy was like heavy, and I was trying to get things done. It wasn't getting done. There were these phone calls. There was obligation. I had dinner at 10:30 on Monday night.
Wow.
And I thought, well, my day went like that. It felt like I was not in control, or I was trying to do something that I probably shouldn't have been doing. Like maybe I'm trying to do my work and I should leave the work out and attend to the people or whatever, right? But I felt a bit of this foreboding that something big was going to happen. Now, I'm not fear-mongering to anybody, because I could have been picking up, when I say this, I say it as in, I was trying to figure out why I was feeling that way. And I think I was feeling, one of the things that came to me was I'm just feeling the energy of things outside of me. Because sometimes you can have a day where you're overly empathic. You can have a day where it's like, this is not how it should be, or you're so sensing everything else out there other than the thing that you usually are. And I mean, yes, I was out the day before and I picked up other people's energies. I thought maybe that was it. But no, I had that feeling, and but anyway, even if something big's going to happen, that's okay. We'll be all right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of things happening on certainly the world stage, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. I mean, obviously in certain countries they're all trying to create this war thing. I don't even know if that's going to happen, to be honest. I'm just not feeling it, but I might be totally wrong. But I'm going to go with what I feel.
I almost want to say, so what war thing? Because I don't know what that is. But anyway, do you want to tell us quickly? And
well, it seems like America. Yeah, it seems like America and Britain are trying to create World War III. Yeah, I just can't see that. I don't think the people will go there. I think because they're not going to be able to call up a lot of these young people. We're not in that frame of mind like back in the 1945
exactly.
or 40 or that.
Because even in the 1980s you would have this, you could do that, right? In the where I was, you could do that, call people to go to war and things like that. I think people have changed. I think mindsets have changed.
I think that people go, actually, no, I don't want it. We don't want it.
And why should you give up your whole life so that somebody else's vision or discord can become a thing? It's time for people to wake up to that reality.
It is, and I think if people do actually go, actually, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to, it's not coming in my world. I think if most people actually did that, it would fizzle down to nothing. They wouldn't be
And
able to create it because the human
yeah,
collective is so powerful.
yeah, exactly. And you know, Jenny,
Yeah.
this is coming back to the crux of it. Has this not been the theme for us for the last 12 to 18 months? Come back
Yeah.
to self and find your
Yeah.
purpose. And in
Yeah.
finding your purpose, are you supposed to be involved in those things? Because I just found that was a question for me for a while now. Like, hey, so you're doing that. You're talking about that. What's your purpose? What's your intention? Intention is
Yeah.
very important right
It
now. And
is. It
I
absolutely
think the
is.
more people are waking up, the more people are awakening, the more
Yeah.
they're going to start, filing in or tuning in and saying, hey, you know what? Okay, so how does that sit with me? Like, perfect example, right?
Yeah.
I did this, and it's interesting you brought this up because yesterday I had a conversation with somebody, and then I had to do some. They asked me to tune in with the dragons about something, and I'm not. It's not anything that I will be talking about openly, but they just asked me to tune in with the dragons,
Mm.
and what happened was I did tune in with the dragons, and everything, all the messages that came out in that was really about tuning in with self, checking in with your intentions, being assured that you will do what you came to do, but not necessarily um, how you're seeing it now. Maybe there's
Absolutely.
something else,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about it is like, what is our intention? When we feel apprehensive about something, or when we feel something is not going the way we thought, um, check that, because even if you've worked with an ascended master, even if you've worked with a guy, like archangel or whatever, and you have a
Mm.
directive to that, I'm finding even stuff that my guides told me 3 years ago. Now I have to go back and check. Hey, are you guys sure about this? Because even
Mm.
that directives from spirits changing. I'm finding,
Yeah.
because we are having to become flexible and what's the word? Not flexible, adaptable.
Adaptable. That's the word. Yeah.
That's right, adaptable. And when we're saying adaptable, even what spirit or the archangel we work with, the guides telling us 3 years ago, has now had to be changed. How many people, for example, have been doing what they thought they were called to do, and they've been running their businesses? I'm talking about energy healers now, right? And now they've
Mm.
come to the last 2 years and thought, this is not working out anymore. A lot of them
Mm.
have gone through the shock of, my guide told me, I was guided to this. Why is it not working? Right? We do this all the time. It's a similar thing. Um, Therefore, we always come back to, when something is not going our way, what is our intention? Recheck your intention, not necessarily the intention of somebody else. Come back to self.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So that is teaching us, because spirit will teach us every so often as well. That is also
Yeah,
teaching us to come back to our own self-empowerment and for us to lead our own lives, not listen to, yes, listen to it. And if you resonate with the guidance, go with it. If you don't. Because on the bigger picture of things, we spirit know we are really powerful. ET know that us humans are really powerful. It's just that us humans, many people don't know how
no, we
powerful they
don't.
are.
Exactly.
And once you get that, how powerful you actually are, and I don't mean like muscles and all that type. It's literally on a higher consciousness, multi-dimensional powerful. Once you realize that you can just tap into anything you want, you can create what you want as long as it's aligned with your soul's journey, of course. Um, that you don't have to get involved with anything out there that is actually taking place. You can direct your own path forward. Sometimes, we might get swayed off a bit and then we'll come back. And that's all part of learning. But we can actually direct our own path forward by listening to what guide we're getting on our own individual level. I've
Yeah.
found this over the last sort of 4, maybe 5 years doing readings for people. card readings, I have to say now that this is a possible timeline forward, what I'm going to tell you today. And yes, some of it does take place, but not all of it often. So I have to say that because I see what I see, but I know that that person who I'm reading for can actually direct their own future depending on what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and everything else. And it goes back to what your receiver and transmitter is putting out to the quantum field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it works. We are powerful beings, and this is why the whole wake up movement is so important, because once people wake up to that, knowing that actually they are in charge of how they live their life,
Yeah.
that and once the whole of humanity wakes up, or the majority of humanity wakes up, no outer globalist force, I say, can tell you what you can and cannot do.
Yeah. We're in charge of ourselves. We navigate and we create our lives. And this is what it is. This is what moving into the age of Aquarius is to see the creativity within ourselves, to be the community that we're called to be, because we've been in this amnesia state for such a long time. It's actually quite debilitating, the amnesia state. And every day it tries to come back and take over our lives. And this is it. When we say things, when we know things, always ask, why am I saying this? I'm learning this more, this authenticity of information, even for me, because I communicate like this, right? When I say things, where am I operating from? Like, and anyway, when I'm going to say this thing, how's it going to affect other people, and what are they going to do with it? Because quite often we can say things, and I do it all the time, because I'm saying things. I'm saying, I listen to that person. This is what they said. This is what I think, or whatever. And because we are such creative beings, when we start to believe in that thing, and the more people believe in that thing, we start to create that thing. So it comes back to, okay, so you're a creative being. What is it exactly that you are saying, feeling, and thinking? And how are you operating? And then when you look at that, you think, where is my authenticity? Whose song sheet do I live my life from?
That's right. That's absolutely right. It's your
And
own.
it comes
It should
to
be your own.
exactly, it comes to the core. And like I spoke to Aaron Ellis, we did a live chat the other day, and we're talking about being in the present. And it's true, because quite often we live the lives we've been programmed to by other people, like our parents, our teachers, or whatever, because that's all we know, right?
Yeah.
And then as you carry on, and I used this simple example of green beans. Like as a child, I did not like green beans. I thought it was a vegetable from hell. And and then I discovered as I was growing up, oh, maybe I should give it a try again, and realize, okay, so maybe I didn't like how my mom cooked it. Right.
Yes, yeah.
But now that I've discovered green beans and I found ways to cook green beans, or had it in ways other than the way mom cooked it, I've realized actually quite a delicious vegetable. So that was it, because I always thought, and for years I didn't eat green beans because I thought, well, even as an adult, but whose song sheet was that from?
That's right. That's right.
So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ginny, I'm just looking at the time, and we've been on here for just about an hour. Do you want to say something to us about mindfulness before we go? Something that you find that helps us to get into a mindfulness space quickly. Could you give us something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So to get into a mindfulness space, sometimes you actually have to train yourself. If you're not used to being mindful, you actually have to train yourself. So every single thing you do, even when you're sitting eating a meal, it's like eat it slowly. So you put it on the fork. I'm putting the fork to my mouth. And then the more that you do that type of thing, the more that you become trained, or training yourself to be in that moment fully consciously at that point. So not all of us are. I'm not a lot of the time either, because I'm out here as well as whatever I'm doing. And it is good to be grounded and be mindful. And so it's literally about thinking, really, about what you're doing in that moment. And what I've found is that we're all being trained to be in that moment right now. I'm getting people coming to me and saying, oh, normally I can set goals and I can head towards them. And, I managed to get to those goals and all that. And they're going, I don't even know where I'm heading. And I'm saying it's because you don't need to know. We're at a point, we're at a point in the collective now, and the frequencies and everything is changing so rapidly that we're being taught not to look to next year and this is how I'm going to be and that's what I'm going to be doing next year, because things are so changing so quickly. So that's why mindfulness is brilliant, because you're just bringing yourself back into the here and now. You're not worrying about what happened in the past, and you're not worrying about what happened in the future or what's going to happen in the future. You're literally living in that moment. And that's how we all need to be, because nothing is set in stone these days. Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? It is this thing of, well, systems are breaking down, even those ones that you have for yourself.
Yeah,
That is the
absolutely.
way forward. There's nothing that's going to be left unturned, because we say systems are breaking down. Yes.
Yes. And they need to.
And even within ourselves, because, like, hey, you're doing that thing and you keep trying to do that thing and you keep setting yourself a goal. Where do we learn that from?
Yeah.
Is that an age of Aquarius system? And I'm not
Yeah,
going to
no, it's
call it
not,
system.
is it? It's a program.
Not. It's a program. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
Ginny,
Yeah.
thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really love our chats. Please remind us where people can get in touch with you if they want a reading or if they want to look at some of your work.
Yeah, well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Ginny Jones on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn as Virginia Jones, or Virginia Ginny Jones. I've got on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram too. If you want to get hold of me for a reading or anything, my email address is ginnyspiritualart@gmail.com. And I'm working on my website at the moment, so it's not worth me giving you that, because there's just a general page saying it's being worked on. So yeah, ginnyspiritualart@gmail.com if you want to get in contact with me to ask a question or you want to book an appointment. Just get in contact. I have got coming up, which is on a Facebook event on next Wednesday, which I think might be the 6th of March. At 6 p.m. in the evening, I am doing an online group healing. They're very, very powerful. It's an hour and a half. So if anybody's interested in coming on with that, then please get in touch also for that.
Yes, thank you for that. And we will put your address details and things like that in the description box anyway, so people can get in touch if they didn't quite get it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I love our chats.
Absolutely,
I know, it's love
nice.
our chat.
It goes all over the planet, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Oh, I do love it. It certainly does. Well, thank you so much, Ginny, for coming, and thank you everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time here on the Great Awakening Generator. So keep reaching for the stars. Bye-bye, everyone.